How to do Exiles. Tables here. We have a new build. My brother showed me this interaction from a gentleman who showcased him finding out about the interaction, and I'll give you this gent's YouTube right here. So be sure to go and check him out, Tusk Deluxe, and it involves some really interesting interaction. It's the Monastery Bell with the Shatter Shield. Now I'm just gonna do a quick and dirty explanation, and we'll go over more after the map. But essentially, trigger Shield Shatter when you block, right? When you block, and then you use the Monastery Bell, count as blocking attack damage from the first target hit with each shield attack. So that means the trigger rate of your shatter from your shield is directly tied to the amount of attack speed that you have. For all intents and purposes, shield charge has great attack speed, great attack time. It feels pretty good. I think we're sitting on 3.76 right now for our shield charge. It feels pretty snappy. I don't know what the base links are. Tusk is doing an on-hit version. I know there's a Berserker out there that's doing an on-hit version. I'm sure a bunch of other people have found out about this. I think this was put up on the Reddit like 18, 20 days ago, something like that. At least the post that I was showed. However, my brother had an interesting thought. Whenever you go to the DB information of Shield Shatter, the base damage is like extremely high. And like take a number of what you know of base damage of skills, and whatever that number is, it's not high enough. The number is insane. And it's a fist spell, right? So most people who play PoE know fist spells really good at Ignite. They're very good at Ignite. So we're just going to showcase this. This is a simple little 4-link burning damage, deadly elements, and swift affliction. I have no idea. I don't even have a POB for this. We're just doing this off the cuff. And yeah, it's pretty good. I'm going to be honest. It's very good. So we're just going to run like a little T14 map. We're level 80. Like pretty hefty mods, crit and stuff. I'm probably going to die in this map because my defenses are not like super incredible right now. I literally hit maps today and I was already doing T10s by the time I hit maps. It's kind of crazy how good Ignite is on this build. Now, mind you, I want to preface that this skill, according to PoEDB, has a 40% less element modifier. So we're doing Ignite, but we're getting the penalty. It's 40% less Ignite damage. But that doesn't really matter. And I'll tell you why it doesn't matter, right? Because the base damage is so egregiously high. Like probably 3.5x what most lightning spells are putting out in their base damage. And yeah, so like a 40% ailment is like really doesn't matter a whole lot. Just honestly doesn't matter. Everything dies. Barracks Respite, the ring, it's really quite incredible. As you can see, with literally no investment, no clusters, a 4-link, which is just really just a 3 damage link. Yeah, I mean this breach is pretty much done. Excuse my loot filter. Okay, I'd like to apologize in advance. I'm not necessarily trying to like do all the things right now because I just want to show y'all like how the build works. We do have quite a bit of evasion. We're not really focusing on armor with this build because we're running on the outside of the passive skill tree. And as you can see, the build is extremely snappy. There is even more attack speed to get, I'm quite sure. The golems provide a great deal of utility and comfortability in the build. And yeah, So we just got to a point where we are like auto casting everything. Our exposures automated, our curses automated through the use of Hex Touch. And we still don't have our Uber Lab. I did a T14 or a T15 Mesa single target. Could have been better. I think whenever we hit T16s, I fully expect that the single target's going to be quite lackluster. But that is the case for most Ignite builds until they start to scale. And, then we're on to a kind of a different story there. I have no idea what I'm doing with the Pastor Tree. Like I said, I don't think Monastery Bell is even in the POB. I don't think it's actually in POB yet. So I don't really have a POB with this. I just thought it looked cool. My brother was like, yo, we should do Ignite. So we're doing it. And we're leveling it. And we're seeing how it goes. Right, so you just saw that Ignite damage. It's not that bad. It's pretty good. For having like no investment, I'm pretty impressed. And I gotta tell you, I see the videos of the 8 to 10 million Berserker. I see Tusk's video and his damage, and I gotta say, I think this is like Uber built for Ignite. Like, I think I realize ethereal flame or ethereal knives can like really ramp up like something fierce, but for no investment, like this is pretty gnarly damage. And we're also like pretty tanky, right? Because we are constantly moving. This build is phenomenal at Strand, phenomenal at Breach. It would absolutely annihilate any Legion that ever existed. The build's kind of cracked. I don't necessarily play a lot of Ignite. The last Ignite build I played was the SRS Ignite, the single SRS. I think I got that pretty close to 10 million for Minion Ignite, and it absolutely melted Maven. So if we could achieve, if I could get 4 mil, Ignite on this build, I would call that a great success. But I think, so far it's already a success, right? I have atrocious gear. I have my gear is so bad. My gear is so bad. However, we're already doing like late red maps on like no investment. Like our skills aren't even leveled up, dude. Nothing is leveled up. And you're telling me it's this good? Oh my gosh, bro. I can't wait. I have another section of the video that goes over all the gear. Explains in depth how the tech works. I think this build's going to pop off. I might eat my words, but this is what I'm going to be devoting my time to. This and Arc Raiders, of course. Arc, we love Arc. And yeah, I'll keep you guys updated. I'm not super concerned with PoE 2 right now. I really just want to get this build off the ground. I have 3 div to my name right now. I am hyper poor, but the fact that I can farm red maps right now, like very reliably, I'm feeling confident that we can take this build to a level that is somewhat sustainable. It can like kill bosses and do eater and all that hoo-ha. But this is a bit of a demo, a bit of a showcase to you guys of what this build is capable of with Ignite in mind. Obviously, we still have to do our Uber to get convergence. This is essentially every 8 seconds is going to give us a 5 link. Right? It's just a straight 30% more multi. So that's going to be pretty incredible. I think this Heart of Destruction is going to carry our bossing. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm extremely excited to see where this build goes, where it takes us. We will eventually be going into spell suppression, but you're going to hear that in the next section. So I'm going to leave you guys. We're going to cut right to that. I'm going to go over this a little bit. This is our skill tree, which we have charisma, we got influence, and we got sovereignty. So I think, we're like really just writing the outer part of the tree. And we really had to do this for Resolute Technique Because I don't, without spending a bunch of extra passive points, we're going to be coming over this area anyways. And it's honestly more efficient to run Resolute Technique and just spend the extra points than like coming down here to get precision, going accuracy, and like it just doesn't make a lot of sense right now to go to stack accuracy to 100%, even with the golem. To my knowledge, this is the spell, by the way, Shield Shatter. It does not crit. It doesn't even have a crit. Its crit is 0. So I think you would look at this like you would look at a Herald. So you would have to give it a base crit and then scale it from there, right? So my brother was like, hey, why don't we just try Ignite? And there is a 40% less ailments modifier on the skill. However, like the base damage is simply incredible. I mean, it is just insanely high. I started playing with the shield at level 49, like the point at which you can actually use the shield. It's the best leveling unique in the game setup. It melts everything. I have like no investment in this besides these 2 pieces in the barracks. All my other gear has just been found in the maps, and yeah, it's kind of crazy. I don't necessarily know how to scale Ignite to the moon. I know previous to the Shaper of Flames change, there was a lot of conversion going on. There's a lot of double dipping in damage. But since Ignite has been changed, I don't know if that's actually the best way to go about it. I need to do more research on how to actually scale Ignite. We don't really have a POB for this. This is just like a half-baked tree because I wanted to level it and see how good it actually was. And in T10s, as you can see, it's kind of a joke. I mean, it's kind of disgusting. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't think we'll have really much issue in T16s and beyond. Single target, though, will probably be an issue. However, once we start utilizing Mastermind of Discord with the implicit on the gloves, we'll pretty much always automatically be applying with shield charge or exposure. And yeah, so also another good thing is that this shield shatter does not have, like, it doesn't have an internal cooldown. There's no trigger cooldown. It's nothing. So if you're attacking 10 times per second, you're also triggering 10 times per second. So the amount of shield shatters that you can get out is directly tied to how many attacks you have. And so essentially how this works is you get the Monastery Bell, right? Chance to block is unlucky. Count as blocking attack damage from the first target hit with each shield attack. And then this is trigger level 20 shield shatter when you block. And if the first target hit is triggering this, then every time we attack, which is 3.76 attacks per second, this is going off 3.76 times per second. So it's kind of crazy. We went the Ignite route. I think Jug is also a more than viable option. However, it is a far more expensive option because you are going to have to be a strength stacker. There's really no way around it. It would be a hit version. I mean, you'd have to have 2K plus strength probably for it to be like somewhat viable. Unfortunately, Monastery Bell is not yet in POB. So it's a little bit hard for us to even do a POB at this point in time. But hopefully the wonderful people that Local Identity and such and all the other guys and gals will be able to put Monastery Bell in there so we can figure out how we want to do this. But that's kind of the mechanics of the build. We're getting 40% fizz damage conversion to fire. And then we're going to do the Foulborn Lightning Coil. Our fizz should not be as bad as I think it's going to be. And those 2 pieces, the chest piece plus the Ascendancy, should really help us to mitigate our damage moving into T16s. Other uniques, I don't know. Possibly a double Barracks Respite. One Foulborn, one not. so we get the explode and the prolift, which is very important. We're running burning damage, deadly ailments, and swift affliction. I don't know if these are the best links. We thought about unbound ailments, but because we're like reapplying ignite so hard, and we're essentially fishing for a high ignite, not that we really need to, but because we attack so fast and we're triggering so often, it just so happens that we're always going to more or less have like a really good ignite. I didn't really see a point in running unbound ailments because our duration really doesn't matter because we're just constantly igniting over and over and over and over and over. And there's not as much of a it's just not as good of a damage gem when you really are not super concerned with your duration, right? We're running lightning golem, flame, stone, and chaos. I think eventually stone is going to end up being replaced with the transfigured version for even better fizz mitigation or just general hit mitigation. And then we have automation, steel scan, more duration, shield charge, faster attacks, combustion, and momentum. Combustion, we're always going to get the -10 because all of our damage ignites, so that's just pretty amazing. And then momentum. And then for our Sync Link, we are probably most likely, I think this is what I've decided, is we're gonna do Hex Touch, I think is the way that we're gonna plan this. Right, so we're gonna do Hex Touch, flammability, so that'll be automatically applied. Well, our exposure will be automatically applied through the gloves, and really all we're gonna have to do is just literally shield charge around and just have fun. And you know, I honestly, we were originally going to do like a cold conversion hit based elementalist, but the more we thought about it, the fact that this is a fizz spell, the shield shatter, ignite just sounded better. And so defenses were certainly a concern, but honestly, being able to move around the field at such a high speed is pretty amazing defensively. It really allows you to get out of tight spots. We have a Frostblink just in case. But it's, you know, for not having invested a lot of defenses, I feel fairly tanky. You know, and that's due to the fact that we just kind of zoom around the map. Kind of like a Deadeye, right? We're doing enough damage. We're moving fast enough. So, yeah, it's just overall the build feels really good. We have Flesh and Stone, Herald of Ash, Grace, Vitality, Malevolence, Frostblink, and Flammability. Honestly, I can't even use Flammability right now because I would rather use Malevolence. So the sooner we get a 6-link, the better. Like I said, we're really going to try and do the Foulborn Lightning Coil, which honestly I don't really think they're all that expensive. Is it Foulborn? Yes, it is. Yeah, so these are not all that expensive. They're not very expensive at all. They're 2 chaos. And so we're mitigating our chaos and we're mitigating our fizz, and it's all just very lovely. Though we will have to figure out a way to get some we'll have to figure out a way to get some more lightning res, but I don't think that'll be too much of an issue. Anyways, this is our new kind of build, and it so far feeling pretty solid. So we'll see how this pans out in T16s and beyond. See how it does with boss killing. The last Ignite build I played was the single SRS Ignite build, and at about 8 to 10 million DPS, I mean, it just absolutely melted Maven. The fight was probably the easiest Maven I ever have done, was on that SRS Ignite build. And so if we can get our Ignite anywhere from 5 to 10 mil, I mean, I think this build is like going to be truly an overwhelming success. I think the thing that makes me most excited about this build is that nobody's really messing with this skill. And my brother had linked me to a guy that had found this this tech and had realized what this tech was with the introduction of this monastery belt, which is clearly designed to work with the Shattershard. And so he kind of gave us the base idea of kind of how we wanted to go. And then my brother was like, hey, this base damage is kind of crazy. And it's fizz, we should do ignite. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. And the belt looks just sick. The belt looks so sick. Just fat mace in your hand. I love it. So anyways, that's it. That's all I got for you guys. I will keep you guys updated on the build slowly but surely. And I don't have a lot of currency to invest in it. I think I have like 3 div right now. I think this is the poorest I've ever been in a league in 8,000 hours. But I've also been playing a crap ton of Arc Raiders, so it's kind of to be expected. However, you know, if we can get this into T16s, we can start farming some currency and see where we can take this build. Because I think this is a really fun build that I would enjoy playing for the rest of the league and just farming content. And yeah, it might be something interesting to play for next league as long as it doesn't get changed. That's it. I appreciate you guys being here, and I will see you guys in the next one. Be good, take care of yourselves, and God bless.